talent only gets you so far. If you can get your guys to buy into what you're trying to do and to be really tough, like, you hear it all the time, the toughest team wins. Well, if you're talented and tough, then that's a good recipe to go have some success.
Welcome to the Jamodi Podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is Jamodi, just a matter of doing it.
Today we are joined by the head men's basketball coach at Wayland Baptist University, Clint Galyean. Coach Galyean was recruited to play basketball at Angelo State University under Coach Chris Beard, but a couple of knee surgeries cut short his playing career. He switched gears and became a graduate assistant coach at Angelo State from 2015 to 2017. He then became the head coach at Central Baptist College in 2017 and led the Mustangs to 3 national tournament appearances. In his first season at Wayland, Coach Galyean guided the Pioneers to the championship game of the Sooner Athletic Conference Tournament. Before we hear from Coach, take a moment to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media at Jamodi Podcast.
Coach, how are you doing?
What's up, Coach?
All right, took a little while to get connected.
No, you're good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just getting ready for practice. We got a late practice today, so getting all that.
What time's that start up?
Not till 6.
Okay. So we'll just make sure that we're under an hour 45, and then it'll be good to go. Well, man, thank you so much for your time coming on talking hoops with me. I'm excited about this, and here's one reason why. The great Matt Garnett spoke very highly of you, and he, former coach at Wayland Baptist,
yes,
and so if he says somebody's good and a good coach and a good dude, then that works for me.
Man, he's normally a good dude. He's probably lying a little bit talking about me, but no, he's when I got the job, or when the job opened, I called Coach Garnett and asked him about the job, and he was real honest with me about it, and he's been really helpful ever since I got the job. So, great guy.
So, about to start year 2, how was year 1 transitioning into it? How'd it go?
Year 1 was tough because I got the job so late. I got it the week of the week of the first day of school, and so school had already started. And so it was tough leaving my guys at Central Baptist.
Yeah,
that was really tough. But Wayland was always a job that I kind of had my eyes on. When I was in college, it's closer to home. I'm from Eastland, Texas, so it's only about a little over 3 hours from there. And then just the level of the conference and the level that Wayland's been has always been attractive to me. And
love that.
Got it late. And so, the first thing I had to do is try to recruit the guys that are there, and make sure try to have a team. And, we didn't have anybody leave. That was kind of our goal 1. And then, Wayland has a unique system where they have fall 2 classes that are 8 weeks online. We have fall 1, fall 2, and fall spring 1, spring 2. And so we were able to bring 2 guys in fall 2 that really helped us.
Oh, wow.
Then, so.
That's an interesting idea, that getting a job like that, having to recruit the current players, not just I got to focus on bringing guys in. We need to keep guys there. What were some of the things you did to make that happen?
When I got the job, I immediately, tried to get here as soon as possible. So I drove the 10 hours, and our VP was able to get me all the guys' numbers. So I called all of them on the drive. Didn't try to not waste any time, and then had individual meetings and team meetings. The day I was here, and just letting them know me and know what I'm about, and getting to know them, because that relationship, as is just as important to having any type of success on or off the court.
You had the opportunity as a player to play for Coach Beard, or to be around him. I know you had some injuries and some things happen, but you've had experience around him and some other great leaders, probably through coaching. So what's one quality or several qualities that you see in great leaders?
I'd say the biggest one that I've got from, coaches I've played for and coaches I've got to work with is accountability, holding players and coaches to your standard, and defending your culture every day. And it's easy to let something slip, but you let something slip, then, down here in a week or two, then, your whole team's doing that. And so just defending your culture and then holding guys accountable to what you believe in every single day.
And I like how you said holding coaches accountable as well, right? Because we're co-creators of the culture with our players. So it's not just them. We set a standard and you guys have to live up to it. That's it. We have to do it as well, because if we are going against some of the standards with maybe the way we show up, the energy that we bring, the way that we speak to each other,
Absolutely.
then they're going to struggle to do that with each other.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And so, that's, as a young coach, you're trying to go get a bunch of talent and a bunch of players. But, talent only gets you so far. If you can get your guys to buy into what you're trying to do and to be really tough, like, you hear it all the time, the toughest team wins. Well, if you're talented and tough, then that's a good recipe to go have some success.
I love that. I mean, obviously anybody that watches this, they can see that you're young, but when they listen to the bio too, I mean, it's not that long ago that you were playing yourself. Do you see your recent experience with playing as a strength, or do you see, are there times where, your youth, not that it's a negative, but that from a player's perspective, like maybe it would help, or it's going to be easier when you get older? Anything like that?
I see it as a strength now, just on the relationship aspect. Not saying when you're, older, my dad's still coaching.
Yeah, but I understand. I'll tell you, as a 40-year-old, I don't get a majority of the references that they make. I don't know what they're into. I'm feeling that. And so I understand. Yeah.
And I could talk to him, it wasn't too long ago. I was in college and, know the stress and, college basketball is a full-time job, let alone you're taking, 15 or 18 hours on top of that. And some of our guys have some part-time jobs as well. And so I use it as a strength, just, the relationship aspect and all that. But, you do have guys that might test me more than what they might test a 40-year-old, but, it goes back to holding them accountable. They find out really quickly that, this, college basketball isn't you get to do whatever you want to do. You're going to do what our culture is, or you won't be here. And so we try to defend that every day.
I was just thinking of that Don Meyer quote. I think it's Don Meyer, that they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes, sir. I believe that is Don Meyer. Yeah, great quote.
Okay, yeah, so good. That worked out well. No, but because I can always go back and edit it if it. But no, I obviously a lot about the game, or else you don't get a college job. I don't care what your age is, you just don't get those that easily. So the game, and your resume speaks for itself. But that doesn't matter. I mean, I would imagine you've done a really good job with you came in late, you kept those players there. I would imagine relationally, you've done a great job with your players.
Yeah, that's always been an important thing to me. But I've seen that from my dad to Coach Beard to Boone, Coach Cinco Boone, to Chris Wright. Everybody I've worked with, relationships has kind of been at the forefront, of your program. And,
sorry, go ahead.
And so that on top of the assistants I've been able to have has been a huge part of our success and the relationships that they can have, with the players as well.
What are some things that you do intentionally to build stronger relationships?
Every now and then, take them, go to the calf and, sit down and eat with them. I've done a better job of just trying to schedule individual meetings throughout the week. It's tough. We're all busy and it's easy to say, I don't have time, but, I just have to pick a day and schedule about 3 to 4 hours out of the day to just, hey, sign up for 15 minutes, and they just come, one after another, and just, talk basketball and, what they're doing well, what they're doing bad, but more importantly, talk, how's your family doing and how's everything at home.
Coaches, the Jamodi podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot360, the future of basketball is here. What are some leaders? You mentioned a few coaches that you work for, but who are some leaders that you follow closely?
I'm probably like everybody. I try to follow guys that are successful and see what they do differently to help their program, be successful year in, year out. So obviously Nick Saban's one of them that I follow closely. Coach Beard, Coach Adams, both at Tech and Texas, follow them closely. Those are kind of the main ones. Dabo Swinney at Clemson. They all have some unique things that are different that I just try to instill into our program. That kind of fits us and fits my personality.
I like that you go outside of basketball too. I think so many times I kind of just stay within that lane. What is that? PJ Fleck.
He's a great one.
Yeah, he's somebody that I have watched a few times, but I think I need to venture outside of our sport a little bit more.
PJ Fleck has that series. I don't know what it was on. I watched it when it came out. It's a series about him and his culture and and row the boats, all that. And it was, I think it's 6 or 7 episodes. It's really good if you can find.
What's that on?
I can't remember, to be honed with you. It came out. I watched it weekly. I haven't been able to find it since. I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
I need to look that up. Yeah, for sure. Because I loved his energy. I love the whole boat analogy, and I think he's at a place. Obviously, it is D1, but I'm always fascinated with people that are able to make the big time where they are. I mean, Sweeney's kind of done that at Clemson, creating a football powerhouse there.
Yes.
When maybe before he got there, it wasn't really known as that. But so I always and I would imagine because just seeing how your quick rise up and what people have said about you, that you might be one of those doing that pretty soon as well.
Man, I'm blessed to be where I'm at and enjoying the process of it.
So culture, buzzword. I think I like to look at it as standards or the way that we show up. In your opinion, how does culture drive performance?
I think it's the basis of high performance and of continued success. It's easy to play well and do well when things are going well. But the culture, a lot of people have, I saw this from the Duke women's basketball coach. I can't think of her name, but I saw a video and she was talking about culture and how a lot of people have a misperception of, when you talk about culture or family, then, you don't go through anything. But it's the opposite. Your culture and your family atmosphere and your standards help you deal with adversity the right way and overcome it. So where it, one loss doesn't turn into 5, you learn from it, build from it, and move on and get stronger from it.
That's a good point, because I think sometimes if I create a strong enough culture, everything will be okay. It'll be smooth. We won't have any of those ups and downs that happen throughout a year, but that's not true. We know that from life. It's like Rocky Balboa, right? Rocky 6, nothing's going to hit as hard as life. But having those systems, those standards in place may help you to weather those storms a little bit better. Tell a little bit about the culture that you've set up. Maybe what are some of those pillars that you guys have?
Ours is, accountability, showing up every day. Trust, trust is a big one with us. Trust and loyalty kind of go hand in hand. Being able to trust, your coaches and your teammates. And then, we're a big mental toughness team, playing for Beard, playing for my dad. And so, we still, the 4 to 1 mental is to physical as 4 is to 1. And, everything we do preseason wise is, a bunch of mental toughness to just, our conditioning test just to get to the season. And that, we try to make practice as hard as possible, as competitive as possible. And so when they get out into the game, hopefully it's a little slower, a little easier.
Yeah.
Everything we do in practice is competitive. There's a winner and loser in every drill, and there's punishment for the losers. And then we keep track. One of our tracks is or stats is wins, because we want to, we stat, field goals, assists to turnover ratio, deflections, charges, but wins is a huge one. And so our guys, every day it's, hey, Blues up 3-2, goals, and you need to try to get this one. And so just to kind of, help them focus on, the main thing we're trying to do out here on the court is to win, however we can do that.
So, Coach, you got to know that one of the things behind the podcast is it's not what you do, but how you do what you do. That's really important. So when you say something like, our conditioning test, I can't let that just float by. I got to press a little bit. So for the rest of our talk, if you don't want me to dig in, be very vague with no. But hey, so can you give a little bit about what do you take your guys through?
Yeah. And so, our conditioning test, preseason test is pretty simple. They got two things, the mile, our guards have to run under a 5:30, forwards 5:45, and centers 6 minutes.
Coach, 5:30.
5:30. And, a lot of basketball guys, you tell them that and they're like, man, I'm not a runner, but
it's a sprint mile, but we are running a ton. Yeah.
And, all of our guards made it.
Wow.
Everybody in our program made it, or you don't practice. And
are you doing that with them before, or is it literally, hey guys, this is coming up, you need to prepare on your own?
Yeah, we let them know in the summer. And then, the returners know that coming in. But, as soon as they pass their physicals, they're doing that. We can't do anything basketball wise until, it was a couple weeks ago. Today we're on practice number 16. And so, they had, over a month to make their mile time. And so it's, hey, once you make it in the preseason, you don't run it again. And so we have, a few guys that make it on the first one, and they don't have to. Some of the other guys ran it probably 20, 30 times. And
if they would have just given a little bit more, they would have done a lot less work.
Yeah. And you obviously have to be in really good shape to do it. But then the other big aspect of it is, the mental aspect of it is, that third and fourth lap. If you can fight through that and get through it, then, some things on the court can, translate to that. And then we run the ladder as well, which is on the court. It's just one down and back, up 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all the way back down to 1. And, there's times for that as well. And they have to make that. And same thing, you make it, you're done. You don't run it again until the next preseason.
Do the guys look forward to it, the returners, or is it one of those things where everybody dreads it, you just got to get through it? And how do they react?
Our first one, we did it on our man's morning. Friday preseason is man's morning. And a lot of the returners said they didn't sleep much the night before, just dreading it, that they knew it was coming. And so, man's morning, we do it every Friday on preseason. It's we try to find different things that are really, really tough, that really test them mentally and have some fun with it as well.
I like that, man's morning. I would imagine things like that. I mean, some of it's obviously basketball related in the physical nature of it, but you're also building up your culture and those relationships with those times too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You've kind of find out who your leaders are. Some guys step up and from year to year, it's really cool seeing guys, help push other guys, or, they're done running, but they go run an extra lap with somebody else, or just, the toughness that we want guys we hold them to. The returners know the expectations. So it's the more returners you have, the easier it is to get those new guys on board.
Coaches, the Jamodi podcast is powered by Ballology. What's your BSA score? The Ballology Skills Assessment is the only verified skills metric endorsed by the NAIA, NJCAA, and a growing number of NCAA coaches to discover and develop the best talent for your team. This 4-minute, 40-shot test can be taken free today on the Ballology mobile app. Elevate your game. Confidence is one of those things with high school players. More than half of them truly don't have the right to be confident because they haven't prepared. They haven't put in the time. But at your level, they've gotten there because they did more work than the people they were competing against. But even at your level, I would imagine you can see the confidence in your players rise and fall at times. How do you help them through those moments with their confidence?
We give our guys a lot of freedom offensively, with our motion and just how we let them play. But it's not blind freedom, and they have to go earn it. And they do that throughout the whole year. Confidence comes with our green light shooting. We have a couple different drills. Our main one is 5-minute shooting, where they shoot and the corner, wing, top of the key, wing, corner, each spot for 1 minute for 5 minutes. And they have a rebounder or 2 rebounders and a passer and 2 balls. And our goal is 70 or more to hit the green light, which is a lot. And once they hit that, then they have a lot more freedom to shoot in our offense. We have a few guys that they're in the upper 80s. We had one guy yesterday hit at 92. And so, he can really, really shoot it. So, we tell those guys, hey, anytime you have space, the ball needs to be going up. It also gives us the reason, hey, you made 50, you can maybe shoot a catch and shoot wide open one. But these guys are getting the majority of our shots. And so you earn it through that. And then I think once you hit the green light shooting, that gives you confidence, because you're a really good shooter. And some guys think I'm probably crazy. Our green light shooters, I can't remember a time that I've been, I guess this is going on year 5 as a head coach. It was crazy. I haven't, said one thing about a guy shooting a green light shooter. I've actually subbed guys out for not shooting. If you're a green light shooter and your job's to catch and shoot and you're not doing it, then you're coming out. And so they think I'm crazy and think, I don't mean it, but until they see it, actually happen. And so we give our guys confidence in that, and then just staying in the gym. We're a really, we make our guys understand how the importance of, individual development. And, we don't do it a lot in practice. Ours is, scheduled throughout the day. That's the advantage of college basketball is, each guy has, an hour in between classes. Well, hey, here this shooting group is going, at 9 a.m. And just getting them in the gym and watching the ball go through the hoop.
Coach, I'm a huge fan of shooting games. I love that one. And because I think a lot of us have our own versions of green, yellow, red shooting games that we do with our teams. But I love the reasoning. Another reason that you mentioned for doing shooting games like that is for their confidence, and not the idea of just in that moment seeing 92. What that does, though, is I think in moments when they're slumping or they've missed a couple, we get to, as coaches, come behind them and remind them. It's like that visualization that Kobe Bryant was so great at. He would sit there before games and remember the moments where he's done those things well. I think players in the heat of the moment when they're struggling, they forget. Sometimes they forget the great moments they've had, the work they've put in. And that's where you come around with that number. Hey, do you remember when you hit 92? What are you thinking about? Just let it go. But I think some coaches, can't protect their players' confidence that way because they don't play games like that stretch their guys. And for some players, it's going to let them know, listen, you're at 40. That dude's at 92. It's role identification a little bit. It's shot selection. But then
Coach Sampson down in Houston, somebody asked him, because he was yelling at a guy for shooting or something. And, you're not giving him any confidence. He's like, I don't want him having any confidence,
he doesn't earn the right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we have 5 different shooting drills like that are all a little different to kind of change it up. Our guys really enjoy them because it's a challenge for them, and it kind of helps separate some guys.
And then those that are what we maybe say yellow or red, lower on those scales, when they see the way that you talk to, the freedom that you give your green light shooters, there's two choices at that point. You could say, well, to heck with it. No way I can get there, and just settle into your role. It's okay, but it's not ideal. The better option is, all right, here's where I am. I want to get there. And then if that might have the conversation or create the conversation with the player of, Coach, what do I need to do to get there? All right, let's start talking about the 84,000 seconds you have every day, and what you can do more.
I tell our guys all the time about a guy that's, he's actually still playing for Central Baptist. My first year there as an assistant, we brought him in from Birdville, actually in Fort Worth. Jalen Adams.
That's where my wife coaches she teaches there. So yeah, small world.
Yeah. Jalen Adams, he was a district MVP there, and we brought him to CBC, and he just wasn't ready yet. We redshirted him, but he was, he was getting in the 30s and 40s on 5-minute shooting, and kind of told him, what he needed to do. Athleticism of a college game was a lot different for him, and in the spring of his redshirt year, he got on the gun and made shot 1,000 shots every single day. Probably at least 5 days a week. And his redshirt freshman year was the first year I was the head coach, and he ended up starting about half of our games and shot 44% from three that year. And so it's within a year, he completely changed his shot and his, trajectory of his career just by outworking everybody.
That's radical change in a year. But I think coaches understand the amount of work, but players rarely, like that number, 1,000 shots up on the gun. I don't think players understand the hours that translates to. It's not like you go in for an hour and you get that done. I mean, in my opinion, it's 300 to 400, right around 45 minutes or so. So you're really looking at 3 hours of work there, or a little less, but that's incredible.
It's a lot of dedication. And and he'd sneak in the gym. I'd get calls from my AD of, hey, who's in the gym at 10 at night? And it'd always be Rook. So
you always love those as a coach, like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of them. And then, hey, that's great.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
The Jamodi podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products.
So we talked a little bit already into skill work and how important shooting is for the style of play that you run, but how does individual skill development work into daily practice?
So I mentioned a little bit, we don't do a ton in our actual practice. We have 5 days a week right now. Once the season hits, we might lower it a little bit for legs purposes and things, but right now we're going 5 days a week of shooting groups outside of practice, which are 30 to 45 minutes of getting a lot of shots up, a lot of skill development. But then practice every day, we start dribble, pass, shoot. We do something dribbling, ball handling, passing, and shooting. And so that's, probably about the first 30 minutes of practice to get everybody loose and just some skill work. And then, a couple of days a week, we'll separate and go guards, bigs, and emphasize, something we want to emphasize on, whether it's, coming off a pick and roll or the bigs, their post progressions or defending the post. And so we try to separate it that way. But, we try to make it a priority to get it in outside of practice. So once practice is here, outside of that first 25, 30 minutes, that we can focus on team, getting better as a team.
So when you say individual skill work, I think that means something different to some coaches. Obviously, and neither avenue's wrong. You can be pretty traditional with it, where everybody does a little bit of ball handling, 1 or 2 ball, some finishing, some passing stuff, or you can kind of go down a road that, and just so I love this road of using accountability tools. You bring in, you kind of follow a guy like Micah Lancaster from Impossible, and it opens your eyes to some things that you could do with your players. Where are you at as far as your skill development?
We it's pretty controlled. Our shooting drill, our shooting groups and things, a lot of that stuff, I give the freedom to my assistant, my top assistant, to give him some control and kind of help his. I always think it's good to, I was blessed as an assistant to have a lot of control and different things outside of just practice, and it gives him to be in charge and make a game plan on what he wants to do on Monday versus Wednesday and different things like that. And so it's pretty controlled. But we tell our players all the time. We have guys that they come to practice, and we practice normally pretty early, and then they're back in the gym at 7, 8 o'clock at night. And so those are obviously really good players that want to try to go make some money playing.
Yeah, I don't know if high school players really get that fact either. Is like, why do they get like so strong? Put on so much muscle and gain so much athleticism, increase their skill so much when they get to college. Like, well, one, I mean, if they go to the cafeteria, they're eating way more food than they ever have before. But two, just the amount of work, just because of the day. I mean, the morning classes and then the rest of your day, or some days you have no class, and so you're able to get those 2-3 workouts in throughout a day. I don't know. I don't know if players realize that the freedom as a college player you have to really push it, like that kid that shot 1,000 threes a day.
And it's so easy for so many of them to sleep in and not go get extra workout in, or they have a break and they want to go play 2K or do something other than, hey, let's go get 30 minutes in. So
that's a great point too. I would imagine like anything else, if players in high school think, man, when I get to college and I have that schedule, then I'll really bust it. If those habits aren't already in them now, if they aren't already prioritizing their skill work and doing more, most likely they're not going to be able to flip that switch. They might not even get there for to your level, but they won't flip the switch when they get there.
No, they don't. And, that's why we schedule the shooting groups. We have a lot of guys that get in on their own. But there's those that have either relied on their talent, they've just been more talented than everybody and hadn't had to outwork people. And so that's why we schedule it. It's mandatory, just like our practice, just like our weights. It's just another part of their day.
What's your favorite style of play to teach?
Favorite style of play to teach? I'd go on the other side of the ball in man-to-man defense. We do shell drill every day. I would say the first 2 weeks, I guess about 2.5 weeks of practice, I'd say about 70% of our practice is normally on the defensive end. We recruit a lot of talented guys that can really score the ball. It's kind of our philosophy. Here at Wayland, we're able to have a lot better mixture of high school and transfers. It's almost 50-50.
Okay.
It's almost 50-50 of returners versus newcomers this year. I think it's 7 and 8. And so, what we do defensively is, a lot of the Beard and Adams, we're absolutely no middle. We've always been that. We down ice ball screens and a lot of switching, a lot of down switching things. And it takes time for guys to get the hang of that. And then, our closeouts, we make guys have perfect closeouts, every single closeout. It's not, when you want to. And so, guys think I probably ruin drills all the time, but we I blow my whistle every time I see somebody give up middle or not have a perfect closeout. Something we just put in this week, which I don't know why I haven't thought about it before, is now we stat once we go live. Once you're not in your defensive segments and you go live and you're working on your offense, you're not focused on the defense. Well, then they're not doing the perfect closeouts. And so we have that as a stat line when our coaches stat practice every day, and our guys run for every bad closeout and every middle drive at the end of the next day's practice from the previous practice. And so
Coach, that's a great nugget right there, because you're right on the money. I mean, we're so guilty of our defensive segments over. Now we're going to work on offense, and all those great habits that you just worked on, they go out the window if you're fortunate enough. And I have a varsity assistant here, Coach D, that I'm an offensive minded person. It's the side of the ball that I enjoy coaching and focusing on. And I've given him the defense completely. But that's a great reminder for me when we do go to more of those. I mean, we're going to really try to play a lot in practice this year. Just play more 5-on-5, because we've been building up, and I don't mean to get off on a tangent here, but we've been building up a lot with 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4 to put in our layers offensively to hopefully when practice starts, then it's just mainly 5-on-5. But in those moments, allowing Coach D to continue to coach that side of the ball and not just be so focused on the offensive side that we let it go. So that's a great nugget, man.
And, I've always had that where, we go from, defensive drills to trying to put our offense in and getting guys where they need to be. And, it's hard. It's hard to watch both. And so, film doesn't lie. And, I saw a huge improvement of our defense this week when they know that, hey, that the camera's watching you, you better have a perfect closeout or you're going to pay for it, tomorrow.
Coach, it goes full circle to accountability.
It does. And so, and I told our guys, and I believe it, we were top 10 in almost every defensive category last year with the group of guys that we have, with the talent we have offensively. If we can be elite defensively, then, we have a chance to be really good.
What are your thoughts on, so you mentioned how many high school players that you do have and that you're able to get a good mix. What are your thoughts on the portal? Like when you're thinking portal versus high school player, does that really matter? Or is it more of what's the best fit? And it doesn't matter where they come from.
You can look at it a lot of different ways. NAI, a lot of people ask us all the time, how's the transfer portal affected y'all? NAI has always been transfer heavy.
Yeah.
It's almost like a JUCO. NAI is. It's really, it's really similar to Division II, the level and all that, but it's always been heavy transfers. But the great programs have a good mixture of high school kids as well.
Yeah.
And so it is fit. I think you got to look at fit and how you want to play and but then, your culture as well. I think when you can get some high school kids that can play and have a chance to play right away, they can help. When you have guys that are in your program for 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, they can help sustain your culture better because, when the newcomers come in, they can help, the coaches can beat them over the head over and over again about what our culture is. But when the players can really hold them accountable, then you have something special. And so that's why, Central Baptist was great to me. And, we had a lot of success there, but we had to recruit. I mean, we'd have 12 newcomers and they would all be transfers there with the facilities and just the job in general. That was the best way for us to be successful. And, that's why Wayland was appealing to me, is I always wanted to have, I thought the best teams always had a good mixture and it helps, on the court, but more importantly, helps your culture and what you try to do, as a whole.
Well, Coach, the speed round, I'm going to know you a lot better after this. It's quick questions. First thing that pops in your head, blurt it out.
Okay.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road. Very nice. Favorite basketball movie of all time?
Ooh. That's a tough one.
It is. Hoosiers. Nice. I mean, it's a 99%er.
Hoosiers or Coach Carter's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Talk about accountability.
Yeah, that's right. You ever wanted to slam a player up against the wall in a practice?
I probably can't answer that.
Yeah, I won't answer that. Don't answer that. That was well, he swung at him first, though. I mean, what is he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to? Where'd you visit?
I love Westerns. So
nice.
I'm a big Westerns fan. I've probably watched every John Wayne movie.
Oh, good one.
So, yeah.
Open Range, Coach. You a fan?
Open Range.
Open Range. Kevin Costner, Robert Duvall. Okay. This from your side of it, this might be the most important part of our call. Is Open Range, Kevin Costner. I'm sure you've seen it.
I might have.
It's a good one for Westerns and stuff. I like that. In basketball, who's the GOAT?
MJ. I'm a huge Kobe fan, but you got to give it to MJ.
I like that. You're up 3 with 7 seconds left. You're on defense. Do you foul or do you play it out?
Depends on, if you can get the foul. Depends on where the ball is and the situation.
So you're saying I need to be more specific with my question.
If they're going full court, then absolutely. I think you have plenty of opportunity to. A baseline out of bounds or a sideline out of bounds, it could be difficult. I definitely don't want to foul a shooter. And so that's a tough one. If it's going full court, absolutely.
Is that something that you practice? That's Mike Neighbors talked about. We need to have things predetermined before the game, before we get into those situations. So in the moment, we're not, I don't know. We know.
Yeah, absolutely. We practice a lot of special situations. We have our guys know our, if we're down 2 or 3, if we're going full court, we have 2 different sets depending on what we're down, and our guys know those, and we practice those weekly. Same thing on the defensive end. We try to practice that. So for us coaches, it takes some of the decision making out of it because we already know what we're going to do, and then the players are on the same page as us.
Man, I need to be better at that. There's a few things that when I ask coaches, like, what's one thing, one of the questions, what's one thing you do differently? I think some of the answers I get that are common is scrimmage more in practice, like actually play more in practice, less breakdown drills, and then work on end of game situations more. I don't know how many times I've told myself that I need to do that. And then all of a sudden the year goes by, we're in district play, and I'm like, crap, we haven't done that very much.
You're probably you're too good. You're not having too many close games.
Coach, that is not it. Now I will say this: I think when you're running and gunning, you typically win by a good margin, or you lose by a good margin. There aren't that many close games, in my opinion.
This last year we had a game that we won, and the game was in the 40s, which is very unusual for a college basketball game. We had to, that's just how our play style had to be this last year. I like to get up and down more. And hopefully we can with this team, but we had to make an adjustment, and we weren't great offensively. So we just had to go beat you defensively. And so we needed to be really good late game situation, because every game was close.
That's right. Yeah. When we only got 40 possessions in the game, it's gonna be close. But with your defensive mindset, I would imagine there are parts of you that loved the grind, loved keeping their score really low, right?
Oh, absolutely. I like it if we could go average 80, but we're trying to keep teams under 60, and that's one of our goals. And if we can keep somebody in the 50s, I think we have a really good shot at winning.
On that note, for high school, shot clock or no shot clock?
Shot clock. Offensively and defensively. You can do a lot of things defensively with a shot clock.
Yeah.
And then offensively, I think it'll help improve the game.
I like that. 2 more questions. How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
I'm normally coffee in the morning, pre-workout. And, I usually try to go work out around lunch.
Okay.
And then usually energy drink before practice. So,
Coach, we're aligned right there. And I'm so thankful that you were open and honest about the amount of caffeine you're pumping through your system.
It's probably not very healthy.
Well, I'll tell you this, just to make you feel better. I mean, the amount of caffeine you actually have to have in your system for it to be lethal, is like crazy high. We're talking thousands of milligrams. You and I having 2 or 3 of those drinks a day, we're not even near 1,000, man. So,
well, hey, we're basketball coaches, so we're probably not going to have a very long life expectancy anyway. So.
Too stressful anyway. I love that. What kind of pre-workout you going with?
I change it up. If you stick with something too long, and then
you get used to it.
Stops working. So
yeah,
I change it up. Just kind of. I have one of my friends works at Exos, which is the number one sport performance place in America, and I always just ask him something because I don't want something that's gonna ruin me. So
you don't want your heart to stop. Yeah, but all right, last one. Godfather, Star Wars, or neither?
Godfather.
Wow, you're quick on that.
Yeah, I've watched some Star Wars, but I've never watched it completely. I've watched bits and pieces, but yeah, definitely Godfather.
That's fair, Coach. This was awesome, man. I want to thank you so much for giving up your time and making it work at this busy time of year. And it was just a lot of fun getting to learn about you and the program that you have, the culture that you've created. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. It was an honor to be on here. I appreciate your time and man, it was fun.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the Jamodi Podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.